Harold Chapman is a recipient of the Cooperative Contribution Award. During Harold's 7 decades of involvement with cooperatives, he's contributed immeasurably to the understanding and practice of cooperatives in Saskatchewan and around the world.
I've been involved a long time, My dad was a farmer. He was a member of the wheat pool. And I can remember when he used to shovel grain into a boxcar before the wheat pool had elevators. Now that was many moons ago. But then later, a little bit later, at Ethelton, I was involved in organizing a community hall cooperative. At university, where I studied agriculture and specialized in farm management, I took a course in cooperatives. I hope they're giving that course yet, because that course started me on a career. Because when I got out of the Army, they hired me to work with the Department of Cooperatives, organizing agricultural cooperatives. And the first one I organized was my own family. My brothers, my father and brother-in-law organized a cooperative farm, which operated for over 25 years. But however, I was actually in the department to organize cooperative farms for veterans. And the Matador Cooperative Farm was the first one. And I brought together the group of 22 veterans to a week-long co-op farming school. They were studying whether they wanted to become part of a cooperative farm. After the week, they went home to get instructions from their wives. Well, 17 of them came back a week later. So that was a thrilling time. But during those days with the Department of Cooperatives, it had been set up in 1944 when the CCF became government. And Lockie McIntosh was the minister. Lockie had been a fieldman with the Saskatchewan wheat pool. So he was really helpful to me. Now later, Tommy Douglas was the minister of the Department of Cooperatives. And it was a great experience working with him.
In 1955, he began an 18-year career as the director of the Cooperative Institute.
When the wheat pool was formed, it quickly developed a program with a fieldman, educational fieldman, in each of the 16 districts. And those folks, their job was to help these people to know what cooperatives were and to become members and to become loyal members. The boys just couldn't wait until they could get out of school to work on the farm. So a lot of the fellows quit before grade 8, but most of them quit when they got to grade 8. So here there was this group of people that were with a grade 8 education or less that were forming retail co-ops, farm supply cooperatives, and credit unions in Saskatchewan. Research indicated that by about the early 40s, there had been about 800 farm supply and retail co-ops organized in Saskatchewan. And by that time, over half of them had gone bankrupt because of inadequate direction and management. So the need was for extensive educational programming. So I became director of the Cooperative Institute, which later became Western Co-op College, and the Co-op College of Canada. It was in 1928 that the first conference was held, which became the first co-op school. And this became an annual event.
Harold continues to educate people about cooperatives locally, nationally, and internationally. In 2012, Harold published his memoir, Sharing My Life, Building a Cooperative Movement.
For many years, I was too shy, sort of thing, to write, But however, I did have friends that were asking questions and finding that I had a lot of experience with cooperatives, with co-op education, both in Saskatchewan as well as beyond. And so they challenged me and said some of this needs to be put into a book. I felt that there was a need to sort of provide information as to where I come from. How come that I have the philosophy that I have? And so there was a need to tell my story of where I was raised, of my university, my Army experience, and then the experience of working with cooperatives and developing educational programs.
Harold has never given up his leadership and involvement in creating a more cooperative community. For example, he was involved in the development of the Saskatoon Community Clinic and continues his involvement as a member today.
When the doctors went on strike in July 1962, people had a problem. So it was to solve that problem that they would get together and form a cooperative to provide themselves with medical and health services. I guess I was one of them that was directly involved. But there were a number of the co-op leaders and labor leaders in that Saskatoon area. Back in 1962 and shortly thereafter, there were a number of cooperative community clinics organized in the province. And they couldn't get doctors to serve them. Yeah. And where they could get doctors, the doctors that were there wouldn't permit them to get hospital privileges. So the opposition to community clinics has just been very great. Now, but I do think that the cooperative model is one that can back up the doctors who will support it.
Harold was also a key mobilizer in the development of Station 20 West and Good Food Junction Cooperative.
Isn't this a beautiful place? Isn't it just jubilant?
Just feel great to see this service in this community.
This is going right back to the heart of why co-ops originated. They're meeting needs that the regular market wasn't for their communities.
It's doing the job that cooperatives are meant to do.
Harold shares his knowledge freely. Organizations he has presented to is far too numerous to list, but recent presentations include local, international, and national audiences, as well as members of Parliament and the Federal Special Committee on Cooperatives. He also mentors his graduating class of 1943 from the University of Saskatchewan Agriculture Program, and this group now awards an annual bursary to U of S students. Harold has received recognition and numerous awards over the years for his contributions to cooperatives and the community.
I know that there are many people in Saskatchewan who have devoted a lot of time, given a lot of leadership to the development and functioning of cooperatives. So to be part of that group, recognized as part of that group, is very rewarding. The first thing I would say to them is to read my book. This book is aimed at helping directors to understand their job and to carry it out. It's also aimed at helping to recognize that members of cooperatives are adults and that there are adult learning principles that should be involved in developing cooperative education programs. My concern is that there be support by all of the cooperatives of each other and having an organization that can help, such as through the youth program, to really do a job of cooperative education in the communities.
In 2014, Harold Chapman is recognized for his contributions to cooperatives with the Saskatchewan Cooperative Contribution Award.